Hi guys, Josh Lloyd here for an NBA DraftKings first look for a 9-game Wednesday in the NBA. Before we talk about that though, why don't you go and hit the thumbs up button? Why don't you go and hit the notification bell? Why don't you go drop a comment down below? It's a great way of helping out this channel and making sure you never miss an episode. Let's talk games now. First one, Boston in Orlando. We know that Jaylen Brown is out for Boston, but Kemba Walker is back. Jason Tatum is playing as well, while Tristan Thompson is questionable. Let's watch that Thompson one, because if he is out, then you're really looking to fire up your Rob Williams in that scenario. While the standards are out for Orlando, Terrence Ross, Michael Carter-Williams, Otto Porter, they're still all sidelined. But what they're going to do with their rotation is literally anybody's guess, because their last game made no sense whatsoever. RJ Hampton did go off in that game, though. He's at 4,500, RJ. Dropped in 47 and 41 the last two games. Like, that's massive. Do I trust it? Probably not. But the salary hasn't gone too far that I can use that as at least an option. I think Mo Wagner with Chuma Kiki out is going to get another start and probably play decent minutes. Well, not to say he's the best option, but there is at least some value there. I'm liking Rob Williams at 54 too, and then Mo Bamba at 53. We love the minutes that he's getting, and he doesn't need many minutes to put up good performances. 46 in the last game. Tatum's at 10-1. Last game was a little bit off for him, but he should be able to get 50 here, I would say. The only risk you have is that it is a bit of a blowout. So that would put a bit of a cramp on that. Well, 5,300 for Evan Fournier. Now, he's been pretty poor in most games for Boston. The exception to that was the last one, where he dropped in 38 points. So without Jaylen Brown, he probably does move into that starting lineup. Kemba Walker's at 73, and prior to him going down with whatever this oblique issue was, he was putting up good numbers, averaging 40 over the last 5 games that he played. So I do think that we can not completely ignore him. I think there is a little bit of value in Kemba Walker at that sort of salary. Wendell's at 57. I'm not interested in that. Gary Harris, not really. Chasen Randall had a big game last time, but I'm not trusting that one. Same with Aaron Nesmith or Dwayne Bacon. Iggy Brazdeikis played a weird 32 minutes last game, and he is a minimum salary player. But I'm just not confident that he's going to get that level of playing time. While Cole Anthony was benched because they were getting too close to winning. They ended up winning anyway. But Cole Anthony at 7,000 feels like it's a little bit too high with some of that uncertainty about how the Magic are going to run things in this one. Portland and Cleveland is the next game for us to take a look at. No spread or total out at this point. This is a back-to-back for Cleveland. We don't know whether Darius Garland's going to play. He was out on Tuesday. We also don't know about Norman Powell, who is questionable with knee tendinopathy. Yusuf Nurkic is at 6,900. Now, if games do get out of hand, they do tend to sit Nurkic down, so that's somewhat of a risk for me. While Anthony Simon's at 3,100, the salary is appealing, but he dropped 4 points in the last game, so I'm not really ready to trust that one. McCollum's at 8,000, not in there totally, but 9,400 for Lillard. He is back. He's averaging big numbers. He's averaging 57 over his last 3, and I don't really think that Sexton and Osman, or if it's Garland's going to be able to slow him down. We've got to have a look at Cedi Osman, who at 5,500, if we do hear word that Garland is out, Osman is worth looking at. And then Isaac Okoro is at 43. Now, Okoro absolutely went bananas on Tuesday against the Suns. Do I trust that? Like, not in a million years. But at 4,300, there is some upside value there. He's shown little flashes here and there. Not enough to be a guarantee, but at least enough flashes for me to be interested to have him in my player pool. The next game we look at is the Sacramento Kings. They are taking on the Indiana Pacers. And just before recording this, Adrian Wojnarowski tweeted that maybe Nate Bjorkgren's job might be on the line here, which is pretty wild after he was just hired. We don't expect Tyrese Halliburton to play in this one, and I don't really expect Harrison Barnes to play either. Bagley's at 5,400, and that value increases for Bagley if Barnes is out. Rashawn Holmes at 65 is all right, but I like someone like Delon Wright a lot more at 5,600, who's going to be getting a ton of ball handling responsibilities. I think we look at Justin James as a minimum salary player who's going to have to get extra run with all these guards. And he played pretty well on Tuesday also, and minimum salary is appealing. And then 10-6 for Domantas Sabonis. Now, we don't know whether Goga Badadze or Malcolm Brogdon or Jeremy Lamb or Edmund Sumner are even going to play. So there's 4 questionable guys here for Indiana. But Sabonis is averaging 66 over the last 3. Now, that is a lot. 10-8, or 10-6, sorry, for sure is a lot. But I think he's not a bad option if Brogdon is out. And the same goes for 8,800 for Karis LeVert. We're only really looking at those if Brogo is sidelined, though. Bud Hield at 77, I think is okay. While I think 7,000 for O'Shea Brissett is suicidally too high. There's no way that I would want to spend that on O'Shea Brissett. The next game, the Washington Wizards and the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, I keep saying this, and hasn't happened yet, but it will happen at some point that there's going to be one of these games on a back-to-back where the Bucks just say, screw this shit, and no one's playing. Could it be this one? I don't know, but it is a possibility. For the Wizards, some of their rotation stuff is hard to get a handle on, but we know that Russell Westbrook's going to get tons of numbers. So at 11,000, we love that. We absolutely love Westbrook at that salary. Hachimura at 49 is all right, as at least an upside play. He can be inconsistent, while Pat Connaughton would be one of those blokes who's at 3,200, and the value really skyrockets if they do sit guys. They may not, but they could. Brook Lopez against his brother, he's at 4,800. I think if Lopez plays, that works for me. Whereas the centers for the Wizards, I got no idea. Alex Len at 3,300? Sure, maybe. Dan Gafford at 4,300? Sure, maybe. But the minutes are variable game to game, and it's very, very hard, nigh on impossible, to trust any of those players to get consistent minutes. I wouldn't want to use Drew Holiday or Chris Middleton coming off a back-to-back, and that first game of the back-to-back being against Brooklyn. I wouldn't be too keen on them. Same with Yanni. Even though he is at 10-9, there is that risk that maybe this one limits his playing time somewhat. Not a guarantee for sure, but it's one for us to pay some attention to. The next game we look at is the Memphis Grizzlies and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Grizzlies are 3.5-point favorites, and the total is 236.5 points. Jaren Jackson is out for Memphis, so that probably brings Brandon Clark back into the rotation. He's been out in the last couple. Rick Rubio's minutes have been way up. He's at 4,500, the ravishing one, and the numbers have been pretty strong for him, especially over those last two where he had 37 and 49. Now, if we go back one more game, he had 11 points and played 17 minutes. That's why it's really tough to project what he's going to do, because 32, 31, 17, 22, and 20 are the minutes. I don't know how to judge that. But they are going with a lot more Russell-Rubio combinations and limiting Josh Okogie, which is probably the right move. 5,600 for Kyle Anderson with Jackson out. I like that a lot. While Brandon Clark is at 3,500. Again, with Joshy out, that does improve his value. 78 for Valanciunas. I feel like you can almost get 40 out of JV most nights, and that looks all right to me, as does the 7,000 for D'Angelo Russell. In fact, I think there's quite a bit of value in this game in general. Anthony Edwards at 74. Well, he's just getting 40s every night, and the salary hasn't reflected that yet, so I do like him. While Ja Morant at 8,300, we can do better than the 8,000 than spending 8,300 on Ja Morant. Phoenix taking on Atlanta. This is a back-to-back for the Suns, and they went to overtime, amazingly, against the Cavs. They ended up winning by a lot, but they still went to overtime. Chris Paul's at 7,500. I just have my concerns about how the minutes look for him. That's my only worry there. While McCall Bridges is absolutely rolling. He dropped a massive bomb on the Cavs. At 5,400, I like him a little bit. Jay Crowder, we don't know if he's going to play. Devin Booker's at 83. I think that looks all right for Booker. It's not outrageously high. And I have zero confidence in Johnny Collins. And I think the 73 for Boyan Bogdanovich, it looks pretty solid. Trey Young's at 9,600. I feel like he's got a relatively safe floor. He's going to get minutes. He's going to get a lot of minutes. He's going to get a lot of shots. We know that. While Gallinari went bananas last game, he dropped in 50-plus DraftKings points. I don't trust it for a single second, but he absolutely did it. Kevin Huerter's coming off the bench, it seems, so I don't think we need to get too invested in him. The Suns here are 2.5-point favorites on a back-to-back, on the road after overtime, if that sort of thing interests you at all. Philadelphia and the Houston Rockets. Seth Curry's last couple of games have been good. He is at $4,000. He's played 30-plus minutes in the last two games. Am I thinking he's going to do that again? Maybe. I at least think there's a nice upside there in him. And I love the fact that Tobias Harris has dropped down to under 7,000. At 6,800, Toby is definitely in play. I hate looking at 6,000 for Jayshawn Tate. That doesn't work at all for me. But 3,900 for Dan Green. Now, the only risk I have here is this could be an absolute blowout, and Green just doesn't play enough. But the salary looks good. 75 for Kelly Olynyk. I love it. He's just dropping big numbers every game. While Embiid's at 10-2, and I think we can spend 10-2 in a better way. 77 for Kevin Porter also feels like it's just a little bit too high. Now, Christian Wood said he didn't think he'd play the next two games, and he's not even on the injury report. I don't know if he's going to play, but I don't want to use him against Embiid at 8,900. That salary in that situation is just too damn high. The Knicks, the Nuggets. The Nuggets are 3-point favorites in this game, but they have got no guards. All of their guards are ruled out, basically. No PJ Dozier, no Will Barton, no Monty Morris, no Jamal Murray. So who's going to start? Is it going to be Austin Rivers, Marcus Howard, Big Shaq Harrison? Look, we know Faku's going to start. The Nuggets are 3-point favorites. I'm not sure about that one. The total's 214 points here. We don't know whether Nerlens Noel is going to play, and if he is out, we're really looking at Taj Gibson at 3,700 as one of the plays of the day. That could be some tremendous value there. Shaq Harrison's a minimum salary player. He's going to have to see some sort of bump in playing time, so I don't mind Shaq, who can rack up 3 or 4 steals really quickly. Austin Rivers at 34. This also could be an opportunity to use him, amazingly, at that 3,400 price point, while Jokic at 10.7 is actually listed as probable on the injury report. We expect him to play, but that's worth mentioning. And then the double royal, Julius Randle's at 10,000. It might be a little high for Randle, but I'm not 100% against that. I do like Facu Campazzo at 4,600. He's putting up some pretty strong numbers at the moment. Hate Aaron Gordon, while Maga Porter's at 84. It's probably a little bit too high there for Mick. I think it's just on the high side. And 69 for RJ Barrett also doesn't inspire me with a ton of confidence. The last game of the day, we're looking at the San Antonio Spurs. They are traveling to take on the Utah Jazz in this game. Early finish to these games today as well, or not today, for Wednesday, which is great, but they're all compressed in really, really tightly. No Conley, no Mitchell again. Jordy Clarkson's at 73. It just feels too high. 87 for Rudy Gobert feels a little bit too high for me as well. While Gay at 39, I love what Rudy Gay's done the last couple. That is not a high salary. The dude's averaging 31 over his last 3. So he has to be at least in consideration. George Niang will get another start, but I'm not really sure that's the one to use, nor with Joe Ingles. While DeJounte Murray at 76. Without Derek White, he is putting up really good numbers, so I am in on him. Not massively keen on Lonnie Walker or Devin Vassell. Boyan Bogdanovich at 68. I think that's just gone up a little bit too high there. Well, DeRozan at 83. Relatively solid and safe floor, but I'm not sure there is quite enough upside there for him. Let's have a look right across the entire slate at where some value can lie here. Yeah, Big Shaq Harrison, minimum salary, maybe JaMychal Green, Austin Rivers, RJ Hampton, Facu Campazzo, Mo Wagner, Rick Rubio, Kyle Anderson, Rob Williams if Tristan Thompson is out, Mo Bamba, Marvin Bagley, perhaps Danny Green, Toby Harris, Rudy Gay, Brandon Clark, Seth Curry, KJ Martin, Benny Simmons maybe, but not particularly interesting there. And then watch for the Bucks if they sit, guys. Valanciunas and Delon Wright and Nikola Jokic also coming in, looking pretty good. Don't forget, guys, subscribe, notification bell, thumbs up, leave a comment, and also find my channel in the title and in the description, Josh Lloyd Fantasy Basketball. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. See ya.